Cincinnati Bengals aren't going to try to throw Jake Browning out there again.
Thank goodness.
So made the move yesterday. Zach Taylor, after their loss on Sunday, was still sticking with Jake Browning in the post game, but then Monday comes around and you could see that there's maybe a little thought process that they might go in a different direction. And then yesterday, we find out Joe Flacco is heading south from Cleveland to Cincinnati.
Yeah, would never have expected Joe Flacco to be the name that popped up this week. I mean, you've heard names like maybe like the Kirk Cousins of the world, or the Jameis Winstons, or the Russell Wilsons, but old man Flacco. I mean, it was a quick little drive down the middle of Ohio to get to Cincinnati, but I'm just glad the Bengals are doing something. I mean, is Flacco the answer? Probably not, especially behind the offensive line that the Bengals have. I don't know if his 40-year-old butt's going to be running around and avoiding sacks, but it's something, it's at least the organization admitting that what is happening is not working and it's not acceptable. After the game Sunday, you hear Zach Taylor talking, and he gave the typical coach speak answers. I have faith in Jake Browning, and it all starts with me, and put it on me. But we all knew that it was a disaster on Sunday. The 3 interceptions that he threw were just absolutely terrible. I mean, people want to point to his fourth quarter, but that was just garbage time touchdowns after you're down 28-3. So those mean nothing. So glad that the Bengals are actually doing something. Joe Flacco hopefully will bring a little bit of a spark to this offense, and we'll see what we can do.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, they had to do something. And you talk about the 21 points the Bengals scored in the fourth quarter. I mean, garbage time. They got him within 11. And then, I mean, you take a safety in the end zone, but I mean, he threw 8 picks in his, I guess, 3.5 games. I mean, QB rating is 70.5, was completing 64% of his passes. I talked about this in our last show. Like, he just didn't look like the same Jake Browning that we saw, 2 years ago when he was carrying them to the 4-3 record after Joe Burrow went down. And now you bring in a guy like Joe Flacco, and you mentioned those other names. Like Kirk Cousins was never going to happen with the contract that's tied to him. The Bengals were never going to pay that and carry on dead money next year. That's the thing with Joe Flacco. He's not under contract for next year, so they don't have to worry about that. I don't think they ever reached out to the Giants in regards to Russell Wilson or Jameis Winston. I mean, he's not the oldest quarterback in the AFC North. I mean, that still belongs to Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
So, I mean, heck, in 2 weeks, you're going to see Aaron Rodgers and Joe Flacco play on Thursday night in what may be the oldest combined quarterback age in NFL history. I mean, I guess Tom Brady potentially, if he played somebody who was a lot older when he was 45, could be up there. But,
yeah,
I mean, they're bringing in a guy in Joe Flacco whose numbers aren't much better than, or they actually worse in some categories than Browning's have been. But, Jake Browning has had 1 drop with his receiving core.
Yes.
And do you know how many Joe Flacco's had?
I don't know, but I remember
watching
that week 1, those 2 interceptions the Bengals had were because of drops. So I know it's a lot.
So he had 11 drops. So he goes from having statistically, which is the worst receiving core in the NFL, to, I mean, the Bengals aren't the best receiving core in the NFL statistically, but I think talent-wise, it could be argued that they are. So he's stepping into a better situation talent-wise and weapon-wise, but you talked about it. I mean, the offensive line has got to keep him upright because he's going to be standing still. He's not going to be able to break out of tackles.
No, and
they got to keep him healthy.
And I'll give the offensive line some credit. I thought they actually played their best game of the season this past Sunday. There were times that Jake Browning had a lot of time to throw the ball, and he just was inaccurate. I mean, in the previous games, you could point to the offensive line and say that's why Browning played poorly. But I think on Sunday, it was all on Browning. I thought the offensive line did a pretty good job.
Yeah, I mean, you just can't make the mistakes he's making. And you look at a lot of the interceptions he's thrown, and I mean, they're bad decisions and they're bad throws. And, you can't put an offense like Detroit in such good field position where, and Detroit's going to score. I thought Cincinnati's defense played pretty well after that opening drive.
Absolutely.
They kind of kept them in the game.
They absolutely did.
I mean, was the reason they were able to get it to 11, in the fourth quarter. I don't know. You had to make a move. And if you're looking for a guy who's going to be able to come in, learn the offense, and play him his first week, Joe Flacco's probably one of the rare guys that can do that.
No, absolutely. And financially, it made sense. And, Like you said, he's not under contract next year, and all you really did was just have a pick swap with the Browns. I mean, you traded your fifth round pick for a sixth round pick, and you got Joe Flacco in return as well. So, I mean, they didn't give up a lot for him. And like you said, not under contract next year. I mean, it makes a lot of sense.